This is Why the American Lawn Really Sucks by Hoog. This channel looks awesome.
The American lawn is an invention, like any other.
I'm going to give some context really quickly on this. I recently became a homeowner, and boy, do I resent having grass. But you just have to do it. You just have to do it. You're financially incentivized to do it because it makes your home more valuable. And also, you have to maintain it in a specific way because the city mandates it.
And it's an invention that can kind of suck.
True. That's what I've been saying.
When European colonists arrived in the New World, they were greeted with a thin selection of cereals, such as little barley and corn.
And Lucky Charms.
Because livestock from the Old World expects old crops. The annual grasses were nutritionally weak and needed to be replanted. So the colonists wrote back to their old countries, demanding the supply of their older grasses.
Interesting. St. Augustine.
Unintended weeds also spread, such as couch grass, knotgrass, and the dandelion. And then there's
The dandelion is not native to North America? That's crazy. They're everywhere here. It's across the whole nation.
A perennial cool season grass native to all of Europe, known for being highly palatable for livestock and producing large yields.
Interesting.
Technically an invasive, it's one of the most popular grasses in the United States.
Wow, everywhere. So these parts down here probably use St. Augustine because it's hardy enough for the hot and humid climates, but then everywhere else uses this frail cold season grass.
It was the demand for high yield pasture grass that introduced the materials.
Look at this little grass world right here.
Fields of grass that are trimmed by animals and fields of grass where no animals can be found.
Except for this animal.
And that makes a lawn a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Turf grasses
why?
are designed for grazed
though?
environments. And a grazed environment is not a pleasant one. For many plants, your reproduction and growth happens high. So if you reproduce where a predator's mouth begins,
oh, delicious.
as true for plants. But grasses are monoclydodons. It's not how you say it. They grow at their base. And this is important because when eaten from the top, they can still survive and grow. As long as the crown remains, grass will too.
Oh.
Turf grass co-evolved with grazing mammals.
So it doesn't have to use seeds.
Teeth specifically designed for consuming the grit that comes with grass. Able to reproduce asexually, it outcompetes plants that need to reproduce from the top.
That's so interesting.
To survive constant cutting.
You know, I've always wondered how grass does it. Now I know.
But this is where the problem starts. Monocultured grass needs to be trimmed if you want it to stay uniform and green, and also if you want to keep it at a manageable height.
True.
But if you're not going to use a cow in the 1700s, you're going to be using labor.
I thought they were battling. Now I understand that was not a good sound effect.
And there were only a few powerful American men who could afford that. Located in the U.S. state, Virginia, is Thomas Jefferson's home.
It's my home. It's my homestead.
Remarkable
Been there.
Architectural masterpiece.
In Charlottesville.
Single-handedly designed.
Can see it from the University of Virginia.
And founding father.
It's pretty nice. It's a pretty sweet house.
Though, is that it's also the location of one of the first true American lawns.
No, he didn't.
A near perfect combination of European landscape design.
You didn't.
Located thousands of kilometers away from the place it comes from.
Now I gotta hate this place.
The formalized idea of a lawn was the brainchild of a Frenchman, André Notre. He developed a wide range of gardens in France,
so interesting,
including Versailles, where he treated gardening as a three-dimensional art, implementing complex grids with different permutations and patterns that manipulated your senses so that you'd perceive scale that wasn't there.
But I still resent it.
It's Notre who's credited with creating the green carpet, a plane of flat grass that created the illusion of a never-ending straight line.
Yeah, you see that in palaces everywhere.
King's power and the French male ego.
Oh,
the lawn was born in France, but it grew up in England, where the formal, really strict tradition would ease up a bit. Relax, you know? And it's in England where Jefferson would end up traveling through as the American minister for France, where he would see the product of the British genius, William Kent. He had a difficulty with maintaining a healthy relationship with alcohol while using deprecating humor to mask deep-seated trauma and depression.
I mean, don't we all?
He also made valuable contributions towards British architecture, but it's his impact on landscape design that is the most.
This is such a well-produced video.
French use of grass was formal, arranged in complex geometrical shapes, and intended for the use of grandeur. What Kent helped create was a lawn design that navigated a fine line between that French tradition while respecting certain aspects of nature that were there to begin with.
A nice flat field of
Where
grass.
the French lawn was kind of kitsch and in your face, the New English lawn was still kind of kitsch and in your face, but in a subtle way. It's Kent and another man who popularized the English landscape.
It's just flat.
A subtle use of lakes, groves of trees, and also random temples, as though the British aristocracy didn't have enough reasons to come off pretentious.
You're telling me that they were digging lakes by hand for landscape design? That's
Of these
too
gardens,
much.
though, the most important feature that
That's
Kent
too
largely
much.
popularized, not invented, was a ha-ha, a design that set in motion the separation between pasture and lawn. Ha-ha is the sunken fence that creates the illusion of a continuous landscape.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a cool idea.
For the elite, this is convenient. You can flaunt that you have long billowy fields of grass just for the sake of it, maintain the use of perspective without being exposed to livestock, but you also reduce the need for additional labor to cover the entire field, which are now only needed on a section of the raised land.
Because the animals eat it. Get
The
it?
idea of having a large section of land
Oh, that's what he did
that
in
mimicked
Monticello?
pasture without having livestock to actually go on it. It was as true for Monticello as it
Interesting.
was for Mount Vernon, George Washington's house, where he commanded and oversaw the construction of not one, but 3 ha-ha walls,
Whoa.
with hundreds of slaves scything and weeding those lawns
Sad.
on a consistent basis.
Bad guy.
And
Bad
it took
guy alert.
years of incremental improvements in lawn equipment for the input costs of running a lawn to be reduced enough.
Yeah, I wish I had one of these bad boys. I want to get one of these. My lawn, like 100 square feet. It's tiny, but I just want to put one of these in my garage and just pull it out, take 2 passes with it, and drive it back into the garage.
And it was after World War II that the American lawn as we know it really began. A returning base of World War II veterans were rewarded with subsidized home ownership,
Yeah, the
opening the doors for new
GD
types of
suburbs.
development. And this is where a chicken-egg problem emerges, a question a scientist can answer, but not someone who makes YouTube videos.
True.
Was it a demand of incoming
Don't expect too much of us,
that spurred the
us
development
YouTubers.
of lawns? Because lawns were always seen as a status symbol.
Oh
of
my God,
demand.
are they hitting the
Or did it
Bernie
largely
right now?
happen in reverse?
Oh my
Where
God.
a few developers with their own ideas of what was desirable helped create that demand by chance.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a landscape architect and developer that's still important to mention here. Olmsted, one of the most
Olmsted.
influential Americans in history. He designed New York City's Central Park and Prospect Park, and was also the first landscape architect for the U.S.
That's kind of hype.
But he also helped design another thing, the American suburb.
Oh,
Riverside is a suburb near Chicago. It's recognized as one of the first planned suburban communities in the United States.
shout out to Riverside.
It's in Riverside that he equipped homes with lawns,
Dang,
intended
really?
as public green space, by demanding setbacks,
That's so.
spatial requirements that separated a home from the public street.
All right, don't even get me started on setbacks. Oh God, I hate them. Can't put anything in the setback. It's legally mandated by the goddamn city.
As a standard model for suburban homes. And in
And
the
now,
US,
and now that has been copy and pasted across the entirety of America, whether or not it works.
everything is bigger. And that also means the setbacks, which are larger than a European alternative where turf grasses
And
are
it just
actually naturally occurring.
Makes it this
So when suburbia
huge,
increased,
sprawling
setbacks
hellscape.
and the lawns that came with it rose as well.
Yeah.
But this is where the painful irony emerges. Spend any time in
America
Northern
pretty.
Europe or in the British
Oh,
Isles
that's
generally,
Europe.
and you'll
That's
be
pretty too.
overwhelmed by large billowing fields of green pasture everywhere. It's honestly kind of boring. It's as though the large green fields of grass are natural.
I don't know. Looks pretty nice.
Well, they kind of are. See, you can try and bring grasses from the old country to the new, but bringing the environment with you, you cannot.
So they're not
turf
natural in
grasses
the
were made
U.S.
for the moist,
Huh.
less varied cool climate of Northern Europe, not for the more variable weather conditions of North America.
Yeah, we got
But
some
a
crazy
plant not
shit
being
going on here
natural doesn't
in the
mean that
weather
plant can't be
department.
Naturalized. Humans are animals after all. You're a monkey. Don't ever forget it. And much like other animals, humans can also distribute seeds naturally. But to get the environment
You're a monkey. Don't ever forget
to
it.
be like it is in Northern Europe still requires more external intervention, be it water and nutrients or pesticides.
Yeah.
And the need to actively create a new environment has never stopped Americans from producing the lawn.
Oh yeah, we love that. We love that. Especially in the Southwest, they love that. You know, you live in a big desert, but they have the greenest grass because they pump water from underground and they put it onto the surface, and then it just evaporates, goes into the ocean. But the grass is green, baby.
Lawn mowing used to be a communal family affair. A father would pick out a son with the smallest chance of going to a liberal arts college, and he would educate him in the practice of lawn mowing. But this has left its humble origins.
I went to a liberal arts college and I still had to mow the grass. Only sun problems.
Into the zero-turn lawnmower.
Yeah.
A perfect example of the large-scale efficiency gains in the industry. Widely adopted because it can turn in place. Millions upon millions are spent on the industry, ranging from pesticides, irrigation contracts, to different types of mowers. But maybe the best example of the bizarreness of the American landscaping industry is the leaf blower. Leaf blowers have engines that go thousands of revolutions per minute.
I love watching people blow leaves and just like in a circle. They can't get them off the yard.
A blower, you'll experience around 68 to 76 decibels of noise. But for the operator, it's even louder, 98 to 106. More than enough to cause permanent hearing loss. And then there's also the other damage. The two-stroke engine of a leaf blower is widely inefficient, producing more than 10 times the amount of carbon monoxide as a new light vehicle, and more than 40 times the particulate matter.
It's not looking good for leaf blowers.
It's attached to the back of a laborer, who not only has to face potential permanent hearing loss, but also dangerous fumes on an hourly basis, for days, weeks, years on end. But what makes the relationship between America and lawn even weirder is how the US is seen. Many think of the US as a country of individuality. There's a unique ability for one to hold property and act in a certain way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone should have property in the US, right? Yeah, it's really affordable. Everybody should be able to have it.
And it's likely that wide-scale use of nitrogen fertilizers from your neighbors can produce runoff that causes algae blooms on yours.
Yeah.
Decreasing oxygen in the water and killing organisms on your property.
God, imagine.
Someone is treading on you.
Imagine having a pond not filled with algae.
And let it grow to its natural state. You want to exercise your freedom. But doing this can cause you to be fined and face legal consequences. People directly treading on you.
We were borderline, we almost got a fine for our lawn.
Help return a well-functioning ecosystem of insects and small mammals. And you'll likely still face a wide use of pesticides that run off onto your property and kill them slowly. Pesticides are varied and have come a long way from substances like lead arsenic.
They used to use lead arsenic as a pesticide. It's just, let's just murder literally everything, including the person who uses it.
But today, plenty of pesticides are still used, with somewhat vague effects. One of the most common insecticide groups used by the landscaping industry in the US, and also agriculture, is neonicotinoids, accounting for 25% of the global pesticide market. The European Commission banned 3, clothianidin, imidacloprid, and thiothoxam, due to their ability to harm food chains and its connection to honeybee colony collapse disorder. They're a very efficient invertebrate killer.
Yeah, rip the bees, man. It was nice while we had them.
There's also carbaryl, one of the most widely used insecticides in the landscaping industry in the US. Also banned by the European Commission for being highly toxic to aquatic life.
Wait, really?
Its potential to cause cancer.
It's banned in Europe?
Recently getting removed from...
But it's still widely used in America.
Pesticides are complex.
Classic.
The age of a person and dosage matters. Pesticides can come in complex cocktails. And there's also a conversation to be had about needing to produce food at scale with adequate pest management. Agriculture is
we are a much larger agriculture economy than the European Union. But still, though,
applied substances have a chance of leaching onto your land, a land where your children can still.
In the private sector, we should not be doing that.
Where you attempt to demonstrate what makes your country so beautiful in the first place. If you don't have that right, isn't that a perfect example of your neighbors and community treading on you? This is the amount of hours
dare tread on
a week. And this is the amount of time you spend on your phone.
The man spread on the toilet is crazy.
Into an hour of math and science. What kind of person
What's happening
would you be in
here?
a year?
Is this an ad?
Brilliant is not just interesting.
Yeah, nice try, Brilliant. Subscribe.